Hello everybody and welcome back to the Tune-In. Today we're going to do my second solo episode and I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favorite live albums of all time. So let's get into it. Okay, so my number 10 is going to be Double Live Gonzo by Ted Nugent. Now, I know Ted Nugent's kind of, I'd say hated, but people really don't like him because he's kind of political, and that doesn't really sit well with people. I don't really like it either, but I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here to talk about the music. And the music on this album is awesome. I mean, I'm going to pull up the track list real quick.
2 hours later.
The album, it has a lot of stuff from Cat Scratch Fever and his self-titled album, and even a couple of his songs with his previous band. It starts out with Just What the Doctor Ordered, just one of my favorite Ted Nugent songs, just a really cool, just heavy rock song sung by his vocalist Derek St. Holmes. And then there's a couple original songs like Gonzo, which was performed exclusively for the show. Then we have a cover of the song Baby Please Don't Go, just a really killer blues rock song, and I love the interpretation of it they did. And then we have 2 songs from his previous band, Great White Buffalo and Hibernation. Now, these are 2 of the best songs on the album, so I'll start by talking about Great White Buffalo. And just what can you say about it? It's one of Ted Nugent's greatest guitar performances, just a really fast, amazing riff, heavy drums, just an all-around great song. And then there's a 16-minute version of the song Hibernation. Just, wow, is it an incredible song. I mean, there's just so much going on in it. He uses feedback really well, and I love the melody of the song. It's an instrumental, by the way, but just a really cool song. And then on the second disc, we have his classic songs like Motor City Madhouse, Cat Scratch Fever, and my personal favorite song, Stranglehold. What can you say about Stranglehold? One of the greatest 70s hard rock riffs of all time, and the song is stretched out to 11 minutes with an extended guitar solo and vocals from both St. Holmes and Nugent. But this is just an incredible album, and if you're willing to just ignore the artist and look at the music, then go check out this album because it is an incredible hard rock relic from the 70s. My number 9 on the list is going to be Live Rust by Neil Young. Now, I know people might be a little disappointed that I didn't pick Rust Never Sleeps, which is his other really famous live album, but I'll explain why I picked it in a sec. Now, this has some great songs. I'd say the first half of it is acoustic, and then the second half is electric. But just some incredible songs. We start with Sugar Mountain, I Am a Child, is one of his famous songs after the Gold Rush. And then I think the song is an original at a concert. It's called My Hey Hey Out of the Blue, which is an acoustic song about fame and just rock star excess. And then which mirrors the song on the electric part of the album, Hey Hey My Into the Black. Just both incredible songs, and I mean, that's really all I can say about them. They're just incredible songs. And then on the electric side, we've got a performance of Like a Hurricane. Cortez the Killer is an incredible, just probably his best guitar performance, I would say. And one of the songs I forgot to mention on the acoustic side was Needle and the Damage Done. Just, I think that's one of my favorite songs on the album. Just a great, great song. I think it's dedicated to his guitarist who passed away. But yeah, just a great 70s live album. And if you have the time, go check it out. All right, so my next pick at number 7 is Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy. Now, this is a classic live album. You'll usually find it on greatest live albums list because it's just so good. I think it's better than most of their studio work. I like the studio work, but it just pops live. Now, it has a lot of songs from Jailbreak. I forget what, there's another album I'm thinking of, and it's escaping me right now. But Either way, I'm just going to kind of go through my favorite songs, so I'm going to pull up the track list real quick.
2 hours later.
One awkward silence later, and I have the track list. Now it starts out with 2 songs from their Jailbreak album. Jailbreak, just an incredible song, and then Emerald, which I really like. It has some great twin guitar harmonies reminiscent of Iron Maiden. And then we've got songs like Massacre, which is definitely a precursor to Iron Maiden, because that song is really heavy, great twin guitar harmonies once again. I think that's kind of what Thin Lizzy is known for. They're great twin guitar harmonies, and also Phil Lynott, I think it's Lynott. It's just incredible bass and stage presence. And then we have songs like the Cowboy Song, which is one of my favorite songs from Thin Lizzy. Just, if you haven't listened to that song, go listen to it. It's incredible. Like, it starts out soft, and then just goes into a great melody. So, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And then the last chord of that song transitions into The Boys Are Back in Town, their most famous song, obviously a classic. And then there's a couple other songs, like Warrior is a great song, and The Rocker is another classic tune. But yeah, if you like 70s hard rock, then I would highly suggest going to check out this album, because it's just incredible. All right, so I'm going to pull up my number 7.
2 hours later.
So, my number 7 is Queen, Live at the Rainbow. Now, there were a couple other choices I was considering, like Live at Montreal or Live Killers, but I listened to this one recently, and it's an incredible album. Now, this album has a lot of their earlier material, which I think benefits the album, because a lot of these songs don't often have performances later in the band's career. So to have a whole album of them is just an amazing experience. Now, a lot of this stuff beginning the album is from Queen 2, one of the great Queen albums. And this is all from their Sheer Heart Attack tour, by the way. It starts out with Procession, a great instrumental by Brian May. Then goes into Father to Son, another great Brian May song. And then Ogre Battle. What a heavy, awesome tune. If you like fantasy rock, then this whole Queen 2, it was one of the godfathers of fantasy rock. And go into Son and Daughter, a cutoff of Queen 1, which is just incredible. Their harmonies live are really good. And then we got White Queen, As It Began, which is just a beautiful song. Just incredible. There's an incredible guitar solo. The lyrics are poignant. Freddie Mercury's delivery is just impeccable. And then we got songs like Flick of the Wrist off of Sheer Heart Attack, a great song. In the Lap of the Gods, another good one. Then we have a medley, yeah, that's right, of In the Lap of the Gods, like I said, Killer Queen, just an incredible track. And then March of the Black Queen. Dang, that song is good. I only play the heavy section, but it blows the roof off. And then a couple other songs again, Son and Daughter. Seven Seas of Rye, a great song off of Queen 2. Keep Yourself Alive, awesome song. And then it ends with a rock and roll medley, like Modern Times Rock and Roll, a cover of Elvis's Jailhouse Rock. And then it ends with the classic Queen, God Save the Queen. The classic Queen, God Save the Queen. Interesting sentence. But yeah, just what an incredible album. The band in their prime, I say. And I just can't, if you want to get into earlier Queen, but you don't really know which album you want to go with this one, because then you can kind of feel out on what you like. All right, so my next pick at number 6 is MTV Unplugged in New York by Nirvana. My co-hosts in the booth really seem to like that decision, apparently. They're both giving me thumbs up. This album is great. I'd say it's some of Kurt Cobain's best performances. Well, yeah, it starts with About a Girl, great song. I'm just going to give you a heads up, don't watch the Puddle of Mud version, it's bad. But then it goes into Come As You Are, just an incredible acoustic take on one of their classics. And then we go to other songs like a cover of David Bowie's Man Who Sold the World. That is probably my favorite. It's tough. It's tied with another song from my favorite song on the album. I'd say it's like I don't know. It's tough. I think I'm going to call it the definitive version of that song because Kurt Cobain just brings some like emotional rasp to the vocals he does in that song. And then we got other songs like Polly, On a Plane, a cover of Meat Puppets' Lake of Fire, which is a cool song. But one of my favorite songs on there is Something in the Way. Just an incredible version of that song. I like basically all the versions of that song, but this one's really good. Probably my second favorite, just behind the version which is live at the BBC. But if you're a grunge fan and you haven't listened to this album, you are seriously missing out. Well, if you're a grunge fan, you probably like Nirvana, but still, you're missing out if you haven't heard this album, because it is great. It's a very intimate sounding album, and just, if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's probably the most accessible album on my list. Number 5, Seconds Out by Genesis. Now, this was kind of in an interesting period of Genesis history, because Peter Gabriel had left the band, and they did 2 albums, Trick of the Tail and I forget the other one's name. Either way, wow, I cannot talk today. But anyway, so Phil Collins had taken over vocal duty, and I forget who they had for drummer. I think they had Bill Bruford of King Crimson on a couple of songs, but starts out with the song Squonk off, I think it's off one of the albums after Peter Gabriel left. Great song. The Carpet Crawlers. Wow, is that a great song. Not Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins. Phil Collins' vocals on that song are impeccable. Just great vocals. Very ethereal sounding. And then we have Firth of Fifth, the classic Steve Hackett guitar solo. Just an incredible track. It was originally off Sung England by the Pound. But just a great, great song. And then the last 2 songs on the first side are The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, which is the title track to that album. I love the piano intro to it. It's just one of the great rock piano parts. And then just Phil Collins really does a great job on this album of filling the shoes of Peter Gabriel, which we see in the next song, the closing section to their song, The Musical Box, which I mentioned in our last video if you want to check that out. But just, wow. I dare say I think I like Collins' version better than Gabriel's. His vocals are just, I don't know, they just convey so much emotion. And, I mean, it's one of my favorite Genesis songs, and it is just a great take on it. And then disc 2 has the 24-minute live version of Supper's Ready, which I mentioned in a previous video. And it has a couple other songs. Cinema Show is great, and Dance on a Volcano, and then Los Endos to end the album. Wow, is this a great album. If you're a prog fan, you haven't checked it out, you seriously need to, because it is incredible. At number 4 is Jimi Hendrix's Band of Gypsies. Now, this is a great live album. It was recorded on New Year's Eve at the Fillmore East. And just some incredible songs. Starts out with Who Knows, which is like a great funky blues rock number. Changes is a good song. Power to Love is probably my second favorite song on the album. But you're not here to listen to me talk about most of the other tracks on the album. You're here wanting to hear my thoughts on the 12-minute grandiose guitar opus, Machine Gun. Just wow. Certainly Jimi Hendrix's best protest song since his performance of Star Spangled Banner at Woodstock. The way he can mimic sounds of war with nothing but a guitar, just incredible. It really shows his virtuoso at his craft. And he has the rest of his band behind him with their, he has the rest of his band behind him laying down a great groove that Jimmy solos over. And there's like, I forget how many minutes in, there's just this like one note that sounds like screaming, and it is just impressive and horrifying and beautiful all at the same time. I know I've said this for all these albums, but if you like it, go check it out. If it sounds like something you're interested, go check it out. If you like it, you probably already checked it out. So that sentence really made sense. My number 3 pick is Exit Stage Left by Rush. Now, this was during, I think, their Moving Pictures tour. Yep. And just what to say about this album. It is incredible. Starts off with Spirit of Radio, which is just an incredible song. The intro is iconic. We go to YYZ, one of Rush's most popular and also most complex songs. Passage to Bangkok. I love the version on this album. Just the heaviness of Alex's guitar. And the copy I have, for some reason, so they could fit it on one disc, they decided to cut this song, which is crap. But I digress. Then we go to Closer to the Heart, Beneath, Between, Behind, Jacob's Ladder, all great tunes. And then we go to an instrumental piece called Bruin's Bane, which is only like a minute. And that leads into The Trees. Now, this is one of my favorite Rush songs. Neil Peart's lyrics are just so incredibly poignant, and they still stand the test of time like 40 years later. I'm going to Xanadu, one of the great long pieces. And then we finish out with Free Will, Tom Sawyer, and La Villa Strangiato. Now, La Villa Strangiato, just what an incredible piece. Certainly one of the most difficult, but it is an incredible instrumental to end the album on. Tom Sawyer and Free Will, you know them, you love them, they're both awesome. So, if you're just like seconds out, if you're a Rush fan or a prog fan, then you seriously need to check this album out because it is certainly worth your time. Now, my number 2 might be a bit of an unexpected pick, but I'm going to go with The Dance by Fleetwood Mac. Now, this was an album recorded in the 90s, because Fleetwood Mac, I think they broke up for a little bit in the 80s and then came back in the 90s. But just some of these songs are like the go-to versions of the songs for me. Now we start with an incredible performance of their song, The Chain. Just the vocals from Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, and Lindsey Buckingham are on point. And then we go into a great performance of Dreams, Christine's song Everywhere. Then we go into Rhiannon. What can you say about this song? Stevie Nicks just blows your mind with her performance. It starts out with this incredibly beautiful piano intro, and then it goes into the main song, which just, wow, the harmonies are on point. Stevie is on her game. And then we go into a showcase for Lindsey Buckingham, I'm So Afraid. Now, he just goes off on the guitar intro, and his vocals and the organ just give this sense of dread and doom. And we go to some other songs like Temporary One, Bleed to Love Her, great. Big Love. Wow, that's an incredible song. It's more like a Lindsey solo act, just his voice and his acoustic guitar. But man, does it work, because both those elements together are just awesome. And then we go to Tusk with the USC Marching Band, Go Your Own Way, Don't Stop, and it has the definitive version of Silver Springs with Stevie just staring Lindsey down. It is so intense and just a great experience overall. I would certainly recommend this to anyone who likes soft rock or 70s rock, or just anyone who likes music in general. Go check out this album. My number 1 live album of all time is The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin. Now, I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan, as anyone who's seen this channel already knows. And this is like Zeppelin at the height of their power. So let's off with Rock and Roll, just a great version of the song. Celebration Day is like my go-to version of that song. Black Dog, just an incredibly bluesy rocker. Over the Hills and Far Away. That song is just incredible. And then we have Misty Mountain Hop, Since I've Been Loving You. Wow, can Jimmy Page play a guitar on that song? It's incredible. It's like the go-to version of that song. He's just playing all these incredibly bluesy licks with Robert Plant's impressive vocals and John Bonham's great drumming. I gotta give a shout out to John Paul Jones because his organ on this song is super good. And then back-to-back Jimmy Page greatness with No Quarter. The definitive live guitar solo from that performance is awesome. And then we have Song Remains the Same, the Rain song. my favorite version of that song. It is just so good. And it's kind of hard to explain because the organs from John Paul Jones really complement Jimmy Page's guitar well. And it just makes a beautiful atmosphere. Then we have The Ocean, one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. And then the 30-minute live version of Dazed and Confused. Just what can you say about it? Some people might think it's pretentious, but I think it's awesome. Just Jimmy Page plays his guitar with a bow at one point. They go in jamming on, I forget who it was, but there's a song called San Francisco. I think it's like Scott McKenzie, if I'm not wrong. Just Robert Plant just kills that song with his vocals. Really good. Just an incredible bluesy, proggy jam. And then we go to Stairway to Heaven, just a classic, great song. Moby Dick with John Bonham's 12-minute drum solo. Hey, if you have a drummer that good, why not show him off? And we go into Heartbreaker with Jimmy Page's just incredible guitar solo. Shatters your ears, blows your mind, and blasts the roof off. And then finally, we have Whole Lotta Love, just a classic Zeppelin track. But I have to say, if you like 70s hard rock or Zeppelin, you need to check this album out because it is great. Okay, so that's my list. Thank you for joining us. Next week, Brodie will probably be back. No, he will be back. But Brodie will return. So that's my list. Thank you for watching. I'm Wyatt Albaugh. This is the Tune In, Tuning Out. That scared the crap out of me.